So for the last 6 years, I have done an income summary revenue streams breakdown in the form of my lovely, lovely pie charts. But today is the first time that we're doing it and looking at my expenses and how and where I spend my business money. And this video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for creators, entrepreneurs, and freelancers to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out in the freelance world or a small business owner, Squarespace has everything that you need to build beautiful websites, engage your audience, and sell anything from physical and digital products to courses to even your time, all in one place and all on your terms. Okay, let's get into this. Honestly, it is really bad form that it has taken me this long to look at my expenses this way. Bad business practice there, Hannah. But maternity leave and a reduction in my income really made me think, oh shit, I need to look at my expenses. Because also, my expenses have gone up recently. There have been new team members, I've been renting this studio, and I've been outsourcing a lot more since I got back from my maternity leave. We've also been doing some bigger videos, which are just more expensive to make. Now, a few disclaimers before we look at the pie chart and the numbers. What we're about to see is the expenses of the last tax year, so 2022 to 2023. The first 3 months of that, I was on maternity leave, but my team was still working and I was paying them. I've not included tax in this whole thing, and I've also not included paying myself. So this is all before tax and before paying myself. The names of the categories are the ones that my accountants have come up with, and I couldn't think of better ones for it, so I'll just explain as we go. It's also not a perfect system. There were some things where I was like, which category does this go in? So there's like a category for software and a category for video costs, but what if it's software that we use to make videos? Which category does it go in? I don't know. It's fine. So it's not perfect, but it will give you an overall sense and picture of where I spend my money. So let's go. Here is the pie chart. Da, 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 da. This is what it looks like. Now let's dive into it. So that massive, massive chunk, 65.5%. This is consultancy fees. That's what my accountants have called it. It's basically the people that I work with. It's my team. I think it's called consultancy fees because everyone is freelance and works part-time, so they're not technically employees, but yes, this is all of the money that I give to people for doing services for me. So this is regular stuff like my producer, assistant, video editor, and publicist. And then there's also a lot of ad hoc stuff that comes under this as well, like video research and script writing, videographer, designer, guest hosts on my other YouTube channel, and then other stuff. So things in this were like paying Lydia for those breast and vulva casts that she made for me for a video. So yeah, it is no surprise to me at all that this is the biggest slice of the pie and that nothing else really compares to the amount of money that I spend on people. The next biggest slice of the pie is my studio, this space here at 8.3%. That is my rent and internet and bills. Pretty self-explanatory. Next up, just behind the studio, 8.2%, is my pension. Your girl is paying into a pension. She's gonna have some money when she's old and retired. At this rate, 75? Who knows? Hopefully I will live long enough to retire. My pension is something that comes out of my company accounts, and this was just what my accountants told me to do because it's the most tax efficient thing. Also, should probably say, nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor or an accountant. Okay, next up is software and computer costs at 5.8%. I also have to say I've never seen another creator share these numbers in this way, so I have no idea how these numbers compare and if they're like really high or really low and I'm doing something terribly wrong here. Ooh, really opening myself up to people being like, what on earth, Hannah? But this basically includes subscriptions to things that help me make content and also just like manage the business admin-y side of things. So like cloud storage, there's this software called Frame that we use to do video feedback, Adobe Creative Cloud because I still often jump into Premiere to edit things, social media scheduling services, and of course, Squarespace. So yes, as I said, Squarespace is the sponsor of this video. They are also where I host all of my websites, and so I pay Squarespace for that privilege. Squarespace has really flexible website templates, designs for any kind of use. So you just find the right one for you and customize it with your own content and branding. And there are loads of other features that you can add to meet your needs. It is so easy, they look great, and all of the hard work is done for you. You can also create your own online course on Squarespace. You can create a really professional looking layout that fits your brand and upload your video lessons. And it's a great way to earn income as a freelancer with a skill that other people want to learn. And it's really flexible. You can set it up so it's a one-time fee or a paid subscription, and it's your course hosted on your website. So that's really cool. And also Squarespace provides you with loads of really great analytics and insights. You can reflect on what's working and what's not. Squarespace just provides all of the insights that you need to grow your business. Page visits, traffic sources, most popular products and content, you can find it all. So head to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and then when you are ready to launch your beautiful website into the world, you can go to squarespace.com/morehannah to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, next up, coming in at 3.5% is accountancy. So this is paying my accountants. I have to pay them for them to help me file my tax returns and other things that I absolutely cannot do by myself. Also, these percentage numbers are just going to start getting smaller and smaller and smaller now. Next up is video costs at 2.4%. So like I said, there's blurred lines in some of these categories, but this 2.4% is specifically made out of a studio rental that I needed to pay for to film a video in a different studio, and then also captions. So what you're seeing on the screen now if you have captions turned on. Next up is travel and subsistence at 1.3%. And subsistence is just a fancy way of saying food, because your girl needs to eat when she's working sometimes. But this is, yeah, like taxis, transport, food, you know, if we're on a shoot and we need to feed everyone, or if I'm like traveling for work and I'm getting food and accommodation and travel and all of that kind of stuff. This number probably, if we were looking at from a financial year like 5 years ago, would be so much higher. But post-pandemic, post-baby, this is real low. I don't really travel very far for work anymore. Next up is insurance at 1.2%. And now that I'm saying it, I'm like, which insurance did I get in the end? So I definitely have life insurance. In the horrific event that I die, then Dan will get a whole lot of money, which is basically enough to cover the mortgage and then some. Obviously, not a replacement for moi, but logistically definitely helps your loved ones if you do have life insurance. And then there's another kind of insurance that I have, but I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's the one where, like, if there are other people in this space working and they injure themselves, then I've got like insurance in case they decide to sue me, so I can like legally defend myself or something. I don't know. I have insurance. I have the kinds of insurances that you need. Once again, this is not financial advice. Okay, we're getting into the under 1% territory. So we have telephone and internet at 0.9%. Okay, so this actually is where the Wi-Fi at the studio comes under, not in the studio rental category. This is Wi-Fi and phone bills. Also at 0.9% is styling. Could you guess from my lovely yellow jumper that your girl pays for styling? No, I bought this myself. But this last tax year, this has paid for the color analysis with Styled by Sean, who you've seen in videos, and then also the big rebrand that I did, the makeup and hair artist for that shoot, and then occasionally clothes for videos where I'm specifically like trying a service for a video. Think Stitch Fix and like the baby rentals and things like that. Then we have legal and professional at 0.5%. So this is paying a lawyer as and when I need to look over a contract or something like that. Also membership to a sex ed professional network, and then other like fees that you have to pay to like company's house. It's just all of like the being legally and professionally like sound. Then equipment at 0.4%. This is another one that would be really different year on year. This last tax year, I didn't need any new equipment, so that's why this is so low. Whereas there have been other years where I like replaced my whole camera system or my laptop and things like that. And so that would definitely up those costs. But I also know that accountants can do this fancy thing where, like, if you purchase something for your business that is like a really large sum one year, but you're going to be actually using it in your business over multiple years, they can then spread out that cost and that expense over a period of time. So I've heard, not an accountant, not a financial advisor, but that's a thing apparently. Next is bank charges at 0.4%. So this is like the fee I pay to Monzo to have a business account, and then also PayPal fees. I'm looking at you, PayPal. Research comes in at 0.3%. So this is money I have spent on books for work, newsletters I'm subscribed to, anything that is kind of like about me reading, learning, watching, listening, whatever that I may have to pay for in order to do that so that I can then do my job. And then our design category comes in at 0.2%. This is a tricky one. I'm counting this as our Canva subscription and the rental for the studio where we did my new headshots and stuff. The graphic designer and illustrator who actually like did my whole rebrand at the beginning of this year, that is in the like people consultancy fees section, but it could also easily come in this category as well. And then we have charitable donations at 0.1%. And this is super low because most of my charity donations come out of my personal account. And actually, this is another thing that I haven't really spoken to any other people who are like limited company owners and how they do charity donations. I do most of mine through my personal account because then in the UK you get this thing called gift aid because I'm donating as an individual taxpayer, then the government adds like 25%. So basically the charity gets more money. Obviously, if you're donating money to charity through your business, that counts as an expense and therefore lowers your profit. And so then you pay less tax. So there's like pros and cons to the two different ways. I don't know, ethically it sits better with me to do most of my donating personally, even though it would be more like tax efficient to do it through the company. I don't know what the etiquette here is, but that's how I do things. And clearly some charitable donations have still come out of this account. I can't remember exactly what this one was, but sometimes I clearly donate to charity through the company. I think if it's like specifically maybe like a sex ed thing or it feels more worky, then maybe I do. I can't remember. And then also at 0.1% is entertainment, because you know, these high-flying businesses, we need to entertain our clients. We need to, you know, do the schmoozing and the boozing. But I think for me, this is just like a subscription to a streaming service if I need to watch something for work. I think I paid for ITVX to watch a thing this year. Does anyone have ITV player? Does anyone watch anything on that? And then coming in at less than 0.1% is postage and packaging and stationery. So this is so mega low because it hasn't been a merch year. If it was a merch year or a Patreon special offer year, then oh boy, this would be a different story. And actually that is the story that we are currently in and will be reflected in next year's tax year expenses thingy, because we're currently fulfilling all of the Patreon special offer things for the new common room stickers. So that's a lot of stickers, a lot of envelopes, and a lot of postage. But this year that we're looking at here, it would have been like the odd pen or envelope or like, yeah, just like really just like the odd thing here and there that I needed in terms of postage and packaging. So yeah, there we have it. There is my expenses breakdown of my business for an entire year. What did you think? Were there any surprises in there, or was it kind of like as you expected? I knew going into this that the freelancers people consultancy fees was going to be like the biggest slice of the pie. I think I was actually quite shocked as to how big it was. But yeah, no other really big surprises for me there. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you are also like a creator, a freelancer, a small business owner, do you do this every year? Do you have a look at your expenses? What does that breakdown look like? I'm curious to know about how it kind of like compares to others. Not that we should be comparing ourselves, obviously, but I just think it's interesting to share. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this video and I hope that you're well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.